All right, guys. Obviously looking forward to your tournament play beginning. It's always an exciting time of year. Obviously, Big Ten tournament and the NCAA tournament that will follow for those teams that will be eligible for that. So, super exciting time of year for us. Looking forward to it. Obviously, we play an outstanding opponent in Purdue. You look at all their numbers, and they've really been, we talked about this a month ago or so when we played them last. You look at their numbers, and they've had some really, really impressive wins. Really well coached, put together in terms of their strengths of their group, the strength of their team, terrific rebounding team. They really got us on the glass here. They're physical. They're very physical. Great at turning you over. Terrific. #1 in the league in turnover percentage. They can shoot it and they can score it in the deep post area. Looking forward to the challenge for sure tomorrow night. I want to congratulate Caleb on being named All-Conference. Great honor for a kid that's had, I think, an outstanding year on both ends, and I think that sometimes gets lost. He's the other day was not collectively our best defensive output, but he's been really consistent. His effort and his impact on both ends. So I really congratulate him on a league this good to be named All-Conference. Congratulations to him. Kyle is day to day. And I say that with all honesty and no gamesmanship whatsoever. He's day to day. So that's kind of where we're at.
What are you looking to see out of him? What does he have to be able to do that he can't do to play?
Well, I think we just have to see more in practice. In some of it, to be honest with you, we may not have a great feel until we get into game stuff. He's not done live action at all in what has now been, whatever it's been since the Maryland game. Not done live practice action. So, some of it we'll have to get a little bit of a gauge if he plays during the game.
As I recall from the first game, your defense was about as good as it could possibly be. Purdue, I don't know what the exact number was, low 30s probably is what they shot, and only scored 52 points. Just as you reflect on that, you show your guys, this is what we did in this situation and so on, just what can you borrow from that first game and know that they're going to have counters to whatever it was you did?
It's a really good point. They will. You play a team the second time, they'll make adjustments. They'll have counters to how we perhaps defended certain actions or defended certain personnel. They'll make adjustments. We'll need to react to that. It's hard to exactly anticipate what all that will be. I thought we were good defensively. Again, I thought they were able to get some stretches on us. They got some clean looks that they missed. You expect that they're going to make them. It will very much be a partisan crowd, we expect, with playing there in Indianapolis. So you have to kind of expect a road environment. They'll be better than what they were here. We know that, and we're already playing a good team. So, I think it's right to expect that they'll make some adjustments, and obviously so will we. And we all know that, what was there, a 4-way tie for 5th and, a tie for 1st. And so there's very little separation in our league with all the teams that were, or I think there were 2 or 3 other teams tied with us for 5th. So there's very little separation in this league.
And just ask about CJ, a chance for him to go back to his hometown. He said it's a building where he won a state championship. He's got 20 people, I guess, coming to the game that he had to get tickets for, and I'm sure you're hoping it's a long stay for him in his hometown, and how he's played much better here, or actually much more consistent, probably the best way to put it, down the stretch.
Yeah, I think it's consistent. CJ's been great. Consistent's the best word for him. He's been really consistent on the offensive end. His efficiency's improved overall. in terms of his shooting percentage. I still am on him about, I think he can give us even more defensively, but he's just done a tremendous job for us in terms of leadership, really settled into his role in the last month and a half.
Chris, Ohio State hasn't made a deep run in this in a while. What does it take to have conference tournament success? What would it mean if you guys were able to put together a couple of wins?
Yeah, I think it's obviously a great tournament, and I've not looked back on in terms of those numbers that you're talking about, but it's obviously it's a tremendous tournament. It's a tremendous opportunity. I think it's maybe the best conference tournament out there. I know there's others, ACCs, that are good as well, but it would obviously mean a lot. We don't want to get the cart before the horse. It's kind of taking the next step. We've got a great Purdue team that we've got to play well against to give ourselves a chance to win.
Well, when you think about championships, like CJ said, winning a championship is winning a championship. What is a conference tournament? How does that compare in your mind to like a regular season? I know some people value one over the other. What is the level of importance you place on like a conference tournament championship?
Yeah, I think they're both extremely important. I think I've always looked at a regular season championship as kind of the quintessential sign of consistency and success over a long haul. And I wouldn't say necessarily I value one over the other. Maybe you could say the regular season, but they're both tremendous accomplishments. The regular season shows great consistency.
You mentioned Kyle hasn't done live action stuff. What has he been able to do? I mean, obviously you want him to stay in shape. I don't know how limited he's been. What is he been?
He's been very limited. Yeah, I don't want to get into real specifics, but he's been very limited up until this week, really. So we've tried to bring him along and monitor any swelling, soreness, those kind of things with our medical staff. We're also aware that we're going to play after this tournament, however long we play in this tournament. But if he can play, we're going to try to play. We're not going to necessarily hold him back for the NCAA tournament. But we also are mindful that there's more to come.
You mentioned there will be things you don't know until he's out on the court. How do you balance that? How do you judge whenever he does get back out there, how much you play him? Is that all medical decisions?
Yeah, I'll listen to Brad and see what Brad tells me about how he's feeling and whether he senses swelling and what his movement's like. I just think he's going to be a little bit rusty, and I feel like I've said that a lot about Kyle because he's just had a season of so much in and out of the lineup.
CJ has always seemed like a pretty mature guy, and I'm wondering how much that came into play as you guys were going through January and kind of pulled yourselves out of that funk.
Yeah, a big part, played a major role. I think his maturity, his understanding of what college basketball looks like playing in a power league like the ACC. I think his character, really was evident. Maturity, character, stick-to-itiveness, ability to continue to push through, and it wasn't just him; it was a number of our guys. But I do think he played a prominent role in it.
For a guy like him, I know he was here all of last year, but he couldn't play. Can a guy like him find his voice in that kind of role while he's not playing, or does it take some time once he's on the floor with these guys to kind of figure out that space?
Yeah, they got to see it on the floor. I think they got to be able to see what he responds like in adversity, what he responds like when he's getting coached hard and when he's in a film session and he's, highlighted with errors and how he responds in those moments and how he responds to poor play. I think they've got to see that. Once they see that, which we knew they would, once they see kind of how he responds in those moments with maturity, which they saw with the real willingness to be coached and learn, then I think that's where his influence is really impactful.
Are you at a point where you can say definitively that DJ will or will not rejoin your team?
I'm not. Obviously, we know where the season is going in terms of what's left of the season, a matter of weeks, right? So, I'll let you draw your own conclusions, but I wouldn't want to definitively say one way or the other right now.
sure you've been in this situation before, Gardner Webb, Butler, and here maybe, where you've played a team once, and then you play them again in the conference tournament. Would you rather be the coach who beat that team at home, or would you rather be the coach who lost to that team on the road?
That's a good question. I think, conventional wisdom, right, would be you'd rather be the team that perhaps took a loss and then is playing the team that they lost to. I think that's conventional wisdom in a lot of cases. I've been on both sides of it, to be honest with you. I believe last year we played a team that we had beaten once in Indiana. So I've been on both sides of it. We obviously know that we'll get a different Purdue team, and I think to your point, that's what you have to go in expecting, that we'll get a different Purdue team than what we saw here on our home floor.
You'll get that Saturday if you win, or Friday if you win.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, we'll get the kind of the flip of it, but all our for sure, all of our focus right now is on Purdue, but absolutely.
There's a lot of things you always have to manage this time of year with the coronavirus and everything. Has that impacted preparation in any way? Do you have to address it with your guys, make sure they're not worried about it? I just wonder what sort of impact the last maybe 24, 48 hours have had on you and the potential, I don't know, maybe you don't play in front of fans. Like, I guess that sort of stuff is happening around the country. How has that impacted you guys as a team, if at all?
We talked about it yesterday. We refreshed with our guys the importance of just taking care of themselves, getting appropriate sleep. We went through the whole, probably what you guys did with your family, your kids, the whole washing hands. And, so I think we went through them, and we talked to them in specific ways about things that we're going to keep in mind to try to protect them. I've encouraged them if they don't feel comfortable. I've encouraged them that, unfortunately with fans right now, you may not want to shake hands, you may not want to sign things, it might not be in your best interest to do that. We just had those conversations. I don't know where this is headed. I think we all know it's really a fluid situation. So I'm not sure where it's all headed. I do think there'll continue to be some things that will really impact the NCAA tournament.
And then when you look back, I know you still have conference teams to play, with the conference season being over, where do you think, obviously you had more wins and you've talked about the offense and the defense, where do you think this team, body work in the Big Ten this year compares to what you did last year?
Certainly better. Yeah, certainly better. Certainly a step forward in a lot of ways. Obviously, you look at a couple, Adam, we were 16-2 at home. And what were we, 8-2 in league games, that would be. And, you just look at a couple where you just, they're gonna bother you for the entire offseason, especially given how compact this league was, from what was it, 1 through kind of 8 or 9. I think our development and growth throughout the season was really good. Obviously, you never want to start 2-6. But to finish 9-3 was a real testament. Certainly considerably better than last year. But obviously, we continue to have goals to push forward in terms of what we want to do. I think for these guys, for this team, for people talked about our Illinois game and them having things to play. I thought we had a lot to play for. Obviously, to have a winning Big Ten record. And to be able to do some things and to finish well was really important to us. So some positives and also some things that we'll take and learn from.
We were talking to CJ and Caleb. They were talking about how Andre is a guy who's kind of built for tournament time and how he does the little things and how he defends. You just speak to Andre's importance when it comes to winning their home situation.
Yeah, I think Andre's, he's kind of the ultimate guy that can do a lot of different things and do a lot of different things well. As I told him, I was disappointed. I didn't think we had the necessary collective effort defensively. I thought we were really good at times offensively against Michigan times, But I just think to beat a team of that caliber, he's got to lead the way with his effort more in that setting. And, you know, that's our expectation for him, because that's who he's been. Honestly, that's who that young man's been.
Have you guys talked about, or are you taking any precautions different from your normal traveling methods because of Corona? Guys in their own single rooms, eating, training table differently, travel differently, anything?
No, not at this time, but it's, like I said, fluid. I mean, I was given updates this morning on some potential changes for us in terms of kind of what our coach's travel schedule could be like in regards to recruiting. I don't want to get into specifics of that, but I think you're given updates consistently on that. So I think it's just a very fluid situation. So we could, by the time we get to Indianapolis, we could decide to make a change.
I might be mistaken, but is Kyle's ankle injury on the same leg that he had the right leg injury too?
I believe it's,
It's his right ankle.
yeah, I believe it is.
Is that at all come into play when you're saying that he's day-to-day, the fact that he's already had some type of injury on that?
Not really. It's really isolated just to that. The leg injury was a concern for us, you know, in between his appendectomy and his ankle. But it's not really been a factor. It was just a really bad sprain.
And then you talked about how you like having like a guy redshirting as a transfer sitting out. Now, see, what's the benefit of, I guess, having a guy here where instead of like when you're a guy transfer, you're explaining what his role may be.
Yeah.
He gets to see exactly where maybe like what he brings to the table is missing on a team.
Yeah. You're talking about like Justice? Or,
yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's good for him to take a step back and see. You know, I think we're coming to a day when probably that won't be the case for everybody. Guys will be eligible right away. I think that's, whether it's in the next couple of years or next, who knows. But I think there's value in that. Get your feet under you a little bit. No kid likes to sit out, but it's been valuable for CJ. It'll be really valuable for Justice. Just so happened that Justice wouldn't have been able to play anyway with his injury this year. So in some way, that's a blessing. But I think there's value in that.
And what way did that I guess helps? What way did that help CJ in this year? Like,
yeah,
from the start of the season onward.
I just think he had a chance to kind of see how we do things, and it probably helped him a little bit. But there's still growing pains that happen when you step into a role, especially like CJ did at the point guard. And obviously, Justice is going to have a big role as well next year.
You have EJ stepping into the role he has and just sort of an increased offensive output from that specific position. Does that allow you guys to do something different as coaches offensively when you can get something out of him that, you know, Kyle gives you what he gives you, but it's a little bit different when EJ is in that spot?
Yeah, it is different, and it's really something we've been trying to move towards with EJ in the last 4 or 5 weeks. We've added stuff to our package, you know, within the last really 5 weeks for him, with him in mind, that we feel like fit him a little bit better. Early in the season, it was more he was kind of scoring off of just because he's wired to score. But we've tried to put in some stuff as we've got into league play that benefit him more. And I think he's just really grown in his confidence.
You guys as a home team, like 16-2, and there's 2 losses, but fewer 5 points. What made you guys so good at home this season in your mind when you look back at it?
Yeah, good. I think young teams play better at home. You know, I just think they do. They feel more comfortable at home. And I do think that benefited us. And listen, I think that it's a good question because we shot it so much better at home. But I think young teams just feel in a different level of confidence. You know, I think that obviously that's going to translate to some better play in the road here this year and moving forward. And then I thought we had fantastic energy, particularly for the last month and a half, 2 months of the season with our home crowd. I thought we had a fantastic energy.
Is there an update or hope that Alonzo Gaffney will be available this weekend at all?
No, he will not be available this weekend. No.
And
Is he still part of the team?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Okay, thanks, guys.